Good morning, everyone. If you would do me a favor and please rise and welcome Class 58. And if you please remain standing for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem. Class, quarter right, hoop! Class, quarter left, hoop! Thank you, you may be seated. Again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christopher Perriott, and as a director of Kirtland Regional Police Academy, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the loved ones, the friends, and the guests for attending the graduation of Class 58. I'd also like to recognize those in attendance, our Board of Trustees, Mary Ann Farragon, Jack Kramer, Ed Perrin, Tom Ritter, and Roy Spangler, as well as our President, Dr. Gary Roberts. This is his first Kirtland Police Academy graduation of many. The Dean of Occupational Programs, Barbara Waldron, our law enforcement representatives from our sponsoring agencies, the City of Cadillac Public Safety, the City of Charlevoix, Gladwin County Sheriff's Office, Kalkaska County Sheriff's Office, Missaukee County Sheriff's Office, Osceola County Sheriff's Office, Oscoda County Sheriff's Office, West Branch Police Department, and Wexford County Sheriff's Office. I'd also like to thank those law enforcement officers and emergency responders who are here in attendance to celebrate the graduation. I want to thank you all for attending. The last 17 weeks have been a testament to the discipline, fortitude, and perseverance shown by each individual cadet. Each cadet seated here today can be especially proud of the extremely hard work that they have put in these last 4 months. The training they have received has transformed them physically, as well as preparing them mentally and emotionally for what they will face as law enforcement officers. Our goal here at Kirtland is to provide our Academy cadets with the finest in basic law enforcement instruction. We accomplish this through our partnership with the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and by employing an expert cadre of instructors. Kirtland Regional Police Academy continues to be revered as one of the finest law enforcement academies in Michigan, and we cannot do this without the support of our Board of Trustees, the college administration, as well as the assistance from our coordinator and our professional instructors. Every business has an individual or a team that always performs above and beyond what is asked of them. They continually give 100%, no matter what the task, even when it may not be their responsibility. I'm especially proud that we, in the criminal justice person, have such a person. At this time, I would like to recognize that individual who behind the scenes makes all of this possible, everything you see here. Our coordinator, Teresa Feldhauser. Mrs. Feldhauser's dedication, hard work, attention to detail continue to further improve this program and assist the cadets to their goal of graduation. Without Mrs. Feldhauser's countless hours of painstaking work, none of this would be possible. So please, if you would join me in welcoming Mrs. Feldhauser to the stage. Kirtland's cadre of instructors are chosen from the finest experts in the law enforcement field. Their professionalism and passion for teaching allows Kirtland to graduate and send the most qualified deputies and officers to serve and protect your communities. If we have any of our instructors present, I'd like them to please stand to be recognized. I know they're here, so everybody stand up. There they are. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking these incredible men and women who dedicate themselves to teaching and training tomorrow's law enforcement personnel. I can honestly say that this is the greatest career that anyone can choose. I am now going into my 29th year, and I cannot believe that it's almost been 3 decades. I remember the first day when we went to the academy. This field is a calling, and the profession chooses you, not the other way around. It's full of good times and bad, highs and lows, hours of boredom, followed immediately by minutes of your heart racing, and adrenaline rushing through your veins. Nowhere else within our society can you find a job with such diversity, challenges, and satisfaction. The law enforcement profession is founded upon a set of ethical values that are instilled in all of us from day one. We at Kirtland had developed 5 core values that are taught and reinforced to each cadet from the moment that they enter the academy. They are professionalism, respect, integrity, discipline, and accountability. These values are critical for them to excel and perform at their best while serving as law enforcement officers. Understanding and applying these values to their lives, both on and off duty, will provide agencies with personnel that are held to the highest of standards. This will benefit not only the agency, but the community they serve and the profession as a whole. Being a law enforcement officer for this long, I have learned the value of having loved ones in your life. Having these individuals walk along you during this journey is sometimes all that cops have. Having someone to talk with and share those moments within your day, no matter how small, will allow you to better cope with what you see, hear, smell, and feel throughout your career. These cadets have spent the last 17 weeks preparing for the day when they'll graduate and become certified law enforcement officers, taking an oath to serve and protect the citizens of their communities. But what they also must have is a promise or a guarantee from you, their loving friends and family. You must promise to be there for them in the good times and the bad. So, with that, if you have someone special seated next to me, I would like you all to stand and take an oath of your own. If you can, please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to be patient, compassionate, loving, and understanding. 2, state your deputy or officer's name. I promise to be that shoulder to cry on, a calming voice when there is doubt and uncertainty. I promise to be there to talk on any day, at any hour that you need. I also promise to give you a swift kick in the pants when I feel you need one. I promise to be there for you and stand by you as you protect the innocent and aid the weak by being their shield against the darkness. Thank you. You can have a seat. I'd now like to bring up our commencement speaker, Deputy Jerome John. Deputy John has spent his entire life dedicated to serving others. He was born and raised in the Bronx to a family of reverends. He was influenced early on to serve people in his community regardless of personnel or racial differences. This upbringing led him to pursue his passion in both law enforcement and the ministry service. With over 40 years of law enforcement experience, he began his career as a corrections officer with the New York State Department of Corrections. He then moved on to the New York State Police, and as a trooper, he was involved in managing New York State's most wanted cases, assisting in Ground Zero, partnering with the Drug Enforcement Administration and the U.S. Marshals. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice and Psychological Studies. He retired in 2014 from the New York State Police, but he went on to pursue his other passion. 2016, he completed his certified ministerial course from the Global University and he was ordained as a pastor in Accord, New York. He served as a superintendent at the Ulster County Jail from 2019 to 2021, retiring and moving to the great state of Michigan. He's currently employed part-time as a deputy sheriff with the Roscommon Sheriff's Office. Please join me in welcoming Deputy Jerome John.
Good morning. Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning. All right. Congratulations, class number 58, on your successful completion of the MCOLS School for Basic School for Police Officers. It means you are now ready to get out there and learn, so congratulations to you. I've got only 3 hours to speak to you, so I've got to, just kidding. I want to speak to you about the 3 basic dimensions of your being. You are a physical being, an emotional being, and a spiritual being. And I hope to touch on each of those briefly for you today. I would like to congratulate or thank the dais, all the members there, for affording me the privilege of speaking. It is truly a privilege to speak here to you today. I want to quote a young lady whose name I can't remember, but she was a graduate of the West Point Military Academy. I can't remember her name because of all the candles I put on my birthday cake. But she said, "Let your work ethic speak for you, and if it is, do not interrupt it." Let your work ethic speak for you, and if it does, do not interrupt it. So I'd like to speak on those 3 dimensions of your personality, if I would. Physical. You've been whipped into physical shape. Stay in shape, because you don't only stay in shape for yourself, but you stay in shape for the members of law enforcement community, the men and women who will be calling on you from time to time to assist them. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to tell you something that I learned from the FBI Behavioral Science Unit in concerning your appearance, what you look like, your physical presentation. They interview, if you're not familiar with them, they interview the full spectrum of criminals, pedophiles up to serial murderers. And what they do with that is it enables them to aid local police officers or police agencies in determining from what they find at a crime scene what they're looking for and what they call the unsub or the unknown subject. So let me tell you about a police officer or a cop killer that was interviewed in the early 90s. Know this, that your opponent studies you. They watch us every single day. Someone is always watching you. And this man knew that if he wanted to injure a police officer, he had to do it in a special, certain kind of way. So what he does is he's in a high crime area of the inner cities. He goes up on a roof. He calls in, there's a man with a gun, knowing that 1 or 2 police would arrive. He doesn't call in shots fired because he knows that if he does that, the cavalry's going to come. So he goes up on a roof with a high-powered rifle with a scope. He calls in a man with a gun, and sure enough, the patrol arrives. He picks up his rifle. He looks through the scope of his rifle, puts the crosshairs on the police officer. He watches the officer get out of his car, put on his cover, look around, talk to a couple people, get in the car, and leave. A week or 2 later, same thing. He goes up on the perch, calls in a man with a gun. A patrol arrives. He's up on the roof. He lifts up his rifle, looks through the scope, puts the crosshairs on the police officer. The officer gets out of the vehicle. He shoots and kills him. The question is obvious. Why didn't he shoot the first guy? Why did he shoot the second guy? This is what he said in sum and substance. This is not him verbatim. This is just sum and substance of what he said, and it's been quite a few years since I learned this. He said the first guy showed up, his car was clean. His uniform fit him well. He had a military presence about him. He had a professional presence about him. He said, I couldn't shoot him. The second officer showed up. His vehicle was dirty. He was grossly overweight, his uniform was disheveled, and he was dirty, so he shot him. Your physical appearance is going to make things easier or more difficult for you as a professional. Always present yourself as a professional. Shine your shoes, keep your car clean, take good care of your equipment, because for the most part, and I say for the most part because there's always an exception to the rule, if you present as a professional, people will respond to you that way. Just like when you go into a home, if it's disheveled, it says something to you. When you roll up in your office, which is your patrol vehicle, it says something about you, and your appearance says something about you, that you mean business and you're a professional. With that said, you will be called upon from time to time to assist other members of the law enforcement community. One of the most important things for you to remember is if you don't get there, you can't help. We tend to drive in triple digits all the time. That's not necessary. The laws of physics apply to you and your police car as it does to everyone else. If you don't get there, you can't help. You want to stay in shape so that when you get there, you are an asset and not a liability. I'll tell you this from experience, it's easier to stay in shape than it is to get out of shape and get back into shape. So stay in shape, all right? I just want to touch on a few other points here. Again, if you look professional, people will treat you professionally for the most part. There's always that person that just violates the rule, just doesn't like authority, and you're going to meet that person. That's why you want to stay in shape, for this very reason. I can assure you that several times in your career, someone is going to have the audacity to put their hands on you to injure you. When that happens, if you are in shape, they will grab you, they will grab a handful of regret. If you don't stay in shape, the one who will suffer regret will be you. Stay in shape. It's important. It's imperative. Let's move on to the emotional aspect or dimension of you. The Bible says that the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? You are going to get to know this horrific things that people do to each other, the deceit of the heart and the deception and the debauchery. You're going to go to places and you're not going to meet people on their finest hour. And you are going to be affected by these things that you see. It's like you have a new backpack on right now, and it's empty. The backpacks are different sizes because we all carry different emotional baggage. But every body you see is going to be like a big rock going in that backpack. Every deceased baby or child is a rock going in that backpack. Every crime scene is a rock going in your backpack. Every fatal motor vehicle is a rock in your backpack. And eventually it's going to get really, really heavy. And you're going to need someone to help you carry it and someone to help you unload it for the future rocks that you're going to encounter. I would implore you, do not be so proud that you will not ask for help when you get overwhelmed. The law enforcement community has spent millions of dollars reducing the number of suicides and substance abuse in this profession. Utilize it. Avail yourself to whatever employee assistance program your agency that you go to has. I will tell you this about going to your agencies. You are going to meet people. I'm still learning in this business. I've never met a person that I couldn't learn something from. That's things to do and things not to do. All right? And I intend to learn up until the day I die, and the day I die, I will learn of death, but I'll speak about that when we get to the spiritual aspect. But as far as emotions are concerned, you will not be ridiculed. It is the wise thing to do to say that last crime scene really bothered me, that plane crash, whatever it is. Talk to somebody about it. I'll give you my number afterward, and you can feel free to call me at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll meet you for a cup of coffee. I say coffee because I'm from the East, but it's important that you reach out to someone should your load get heavy. To the family, as the director said, the last thing these police officers are going to need is a rock in their backpack from you when they miss a birthday party or some sort of family event. This discipline does that. It requires that we're not always there for holidays. So be understanding for them because it's really, really important for them. Also, I want to say to you, diversify your social circles. Don't just hang out with cops. You're going to have a tendency to gravitate to police officers. Diversify your social circles. Talk to farmers, roofers, carpenters, plumbers, truck drivers. Because if you only hang out with police officers, you'll get into what I call the we-they syndrome echo chamber. We, the good guys, and those, the bad guys. It's good to hear a different sound coming into your ears, and you don't get cynical thinking that everybody is just rotten because you just constantly talk about that. Diversify your social circles. It'll help you out. I'm sure you've heard failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Sometimes in this business, no matter how well you prepare to fight the dragon is going to win. Sometimes no matter how well you prepare in this line of business, the dragon is going to win, and that's going to take us into your spiritual aspect. The Bible says, "It is appointed unto man once to die, and after death judgment." You may or may not have something to do with in the way you die, but you can have absolute control over what you hear when you stand before God in judgment. The Bible says, "All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. There's none righteous, no, not one." It also says the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord and Savior. It also says, "Neither is there salvation in any other name under heaven given amongst men whereby you must be saved." It is Christ and Christ alone that will prepare you for the day you die and you stand before God for judgment. If you want to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of the Lord," you will have asked Jesus Christ to forgive your sins now. Don't wait now. And I say that to everyone within the sound of my voice. Tomorrow is promised to no one. Get yourself ready for when death calls you out of here and you stand before God. You want Jesus Christ to have forgiven your sins. That is the only way you are prepared for that. I'm going to end with a blessing for you and a quote. This one I remember in spite of the candles on my birthday cake. "May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and grant you peace and safety." Now, Mahatma Gandhi said there are two types of people in the world: those who do the work and those who take the credit. Be in the first group, there's less competition. All right? Get out there, lock up the bad guys, be careful. Be very careful, keep your head on a swivel, and if you ever need to talk to somebody, feel free to call me. God bless you, and thanks for listening.
John. And now our awards presentations. Our first awards will be our firearms training module given by Chief Kenneth Walters. Oh, forgive me. I apologize. I screwed up. I apologize. Thank you. Missed that one. Before that, we're going to have our class speaker, Deputy Lonnie Day.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I was going to get away with it for a minute there, so. All right. My name is Lonnie Day, and I would like to thank you all for attending the Kirtland Regional Police Academy graduation class, ceremony for Class 58. I'm going to be attempting to share some memories and highlights that occurred on our journey throughout the academy. This training has led to our current event, where 15 new law enforcement officers will begin their careers across northern Michigan. Before I dive into our grand adventure that has been the last 116 days here at Kirtland, I would like to take the time to recognize and thank several different groups. First off, I would like to start with thanking Director Perriott and Coordinator Feldhauser for putting together the Police Academy here at Kirtland College. They have assembled a group of instructors containing vast amounts of experience within the legal and law enforcement fields. We have definitely benefited from their instruction and insight on topics ranging from legal in our first weeks to firearms and emergency vehicle operations in the last. We have covered an extensive list of topics along the way and put in many hours to prepare ourselves just to enter into the field of law enforcement and begin our careers. Our class knows that the learning does not end here, and we are pleased throughout the entire academy to hear this sentiment echoed time and time again by our instructors. They continue to reinforce the fact that the Police Academy is just a stepping stone for our class to enter the law enforcement career field. The 15 of us will be heading for our departments across northern Michigan and bringing an attitude of continued personal growth with us. Please join myself and our class in giving Director Perriott and Coordinator Feldhauser a round of applause. The next group I would like to thank and bring some attention to are the departments represented here on my right today. We have sheriffs and chiefs from a multitude of departments covering cities and counties across northern Michigan. I was thinking about one day, we had a long drive each day to and from the academy, and I was thinking about this, and it's just simply amazing that these individuals sitting to my right looked at us when we walked in to apply for these jobs, and they didn't look at us as the people in front of them, they looked at the potential future we could be, all right? They knew following this academy that we could potentially be good police officers and deputies for their counties and cities. And that is an amazing thing, and I want to give them a big round of applause. So please give a round of applause to all of our departments represented here today, as well as the officers and deputies. And the final group I'd like to draw some special attention to is the Class 58 family and friends. Some of our families have experienced the military life before and understand how to deal with training requirements and making the most of your time while your spouse or significant other is around. However, I know some of the families are experiencing this all for the very first time, and they're gaining some insight into how things may be in their upcoming future. Remember the lessons you've learned during the academy. Be organized, make the most of the time when you have it, stay flexible to lower stress, and enjoy the new chapter of your lives. Not only do you succeed in ways we potentially can never know, but you also allow us the ability to focus on each shift, guaranteeing we get to come home safe each night. Please give a large round of applause for all the family and friends, members in attendance today. All right, now we can talk about our memories. So when our random group of individuals first showed up on December 6th of this past winter, none of us knew just how close we'd become over the course of our 17-week academy. We all left after receiving a brief and a tour of the facilities to begin immediately preparing for our upcoming academy. This is when we discovered our first major hurdle that we were going to have. We had to find a way to talk to each other. So we created several different group chats via text, different things, and somehow, incidentally, we added an accidental classmate, I will say, to our chats. This individual was very unhappy that they got added to a chat that was talking about how to prep for a police academy they were not a part of. So over the course of around 30 minutes, we tried to take them out and do various different chats. This person stayed in, most of them, and continued to be very, very unhappy. It provided a good story for us, though, before we even started the academy, and allowed us to laugh that we had an additional classmate that was there and then missed out. Those with prior experience in courses in the academy-based learning were surprised, though, at how quickly everyone in the whole class jumped together right away, reminding each other what to make sure we had the first day, offering help and assistance, picking stuff up, offering to buy stuff if we needed it along the way. On our first day, the 15 of us arrived early as we'd all planned to have a great start at the beginning of our police academy. As it turned out, the planning and great start would be short-lived. We met our defensive tactics and physical fitness instructor when we happened to be conveniently arrived 6 minutes late due to some other trainings. And they launched into a tirade of comments about our lack of respect due to being late. But our class's collective favorite comment was an instructor getting after Deputy O'Brien for licking his lips without permission. That made us all laugh pretty hard once they were done yelling at us later on in the day. Next, we headed up to the gym, and as you saw on the slideshow outside, we started our very first PT session, and we're introduced to some of our new favorite words of wrong wall. In case any of you couldn't tell in the video, wrong wall is a simple exercise where you run to a wall, and as you get there, they tell you it's the wrong wall. And we never found the right wall throughout the whole academy, so it didn't matter. As we finished up our physical fitness block for the day, Cadet Seiler came close to passing out, as you could see probably in some of the photos, and it took him a good week or so to live that down amongst his fellow classmates. Nothing on him, it was just a rough day. but nicely done instructors on that first day. It's something we'll always remember. For our loved ones, let me give you an insight into some of the many topics we have learned while attending our academy. Here's a sampling. We learned legal concepts, searches and seizures, arrest procedures, behavioral health, physical fitness, and defensive tactics. These are just a sampling of our topics covered, and they still covered a large amount of information. We had some fun moments across all these classes, and we'll have memories to carry with us going forward. There are several moments the class shared that I would like to highlight as they expand into other areas of our course. Officer Ramirez earned an unofficial nickname of Martinez after Sheriff Stern accidentally, or perhaps intentionally, called Officer Ramirez by the wrong name during an early PT session. We made sure to immediately pick that up and pass along to all the other instructors that he would answer to both, so he had to do that. We had several other nicknames throughout our academy given by our instructors. These included Giggles, Yesterday, Coleslaw, Trucker, Cal, and many others. During defensive tactics, we had a couple injuries over the weeks. Deputy O'Brien, my apologies, had his shoulder dislocated during a spear drill. Deputy Seiler strained a groin muscle while kicking one of the dummies. The good thing was they were all pretty minor injuries and they moved through them pretty quickly, and we were able to move on. None of these injuries slowed us at all down during defensive tactics, however, for being aggressive with each other, and more than often, the instructors had to tell us to take it down a few notches, so good on you guys for keeping the aggression up. One of the major highlights of the Academy for Class 58 was our scenario training scattered throughout the weeks. We particularly enjoyed the chance they provided to take our classroom instruction portions and put things all together with reenactments. The instructors provided a wide range of scenarios for us to see new experiences and learn which tactics and procedures worked best for us, as well as they asked us our reasoning behind those decisions we made. As any of you could surmise, anytime a large group of individuals are working through scenario-type tasks, some interesting interactions can and will take place. A few that we laughed at were individuals forgetting early on to identify themselves as police officers to suspects, and then being confused why the suspects weren't complying with their orders. The first time the instructors decided to bail out of the cars, and every single of our groups split up to run them down because we were going to catch them no matter what. The interesting words used by each cadet as they began radio work and were still learning the phonetic alphabet. We had some interesting word choices to highlight the alphabet. An instructor attempting to confuse Deputy Stalter by speaking Spanish, but not knowing ahead of time that Deputy Stalter grew up in Texas and knew Spanish quite well, so when he responded in full Spanish, that instructor just stopped speaking. Overall, our class used each scenario as a learning experience and shared what we learned with each other in subsequent days to increase the knowledge across the group and better everyone as future law enforcement officers. During our time here at the Kirtland Police Academy, our class has had some highs and lows across a variety of different topics. I would like to jump around and highlight some of those examples before closing out my speech for the day. A particularly low point in our minds was the constant uniform struggle of getting our boots polished and eliminating all the summer creases. In case any of you are unaware, Sheriff Stern brought this particular grievance up during one of our inspections when some of us had some creases over here and some creases over there. Cadet Nis, or Deputy Nis as he soon could be known, owned 2 polos throughout our academy, was the only individual in 17 weeks to forget them on a day when we were supposed to wear polos. The good news is we heard he wrote a pretty good essay, correct, Director? Following that on the importance of police uniforms, so good job, Nis. Several of our more interactive training events in our last few weeks were TASER, firearms, and emergency vehicle operations, or EVO. During TASER training, we had a high point of watching Officer Clark get the chance to try out the TASER belt, as some of you might have noticed in the video out there. The sad part is there's no sound, and as soon as he got tased, the most unholy scream came out of his mouth. And that made us all laugh pretty good. Of course, firearms training was 2 weeks of training that we were all looking particularly forward to. Everyone loved shooting guns. Things went well until barricade work started, and soon-to-be Officer Chomiak did not quite have the clearance around the barricade he thought he had. After he finished up his course of fire, he gladly signed and initialed and dated his new groove he had put in the barricade. He easily fixed this by adjusting his position for the next one and continuing on and being successful for the rest of the firearms training. So, good job, Chomiak. EVO was one of our highlights, because who doesn't like driving a car fast and getting to slide all over the place? But we finished that training with new levels of confidence in our abilities to drive and operate a patrol vehicle. I asked each of the cadets to share some of their favorite memories or highlights from our time in the police academy. As you can see, they provided me with a large selection that I was happy to share with all of you. Our time in the police academy covered roughly 116 days and prepared us to enter the career of law enforcement. While we may not know everything at this very moment, we do know enough to go forward and serve our communities effectively as brand new police officers. The overwhelming consensus each time an instructor asked why we chose to enter this career field was a desire to serve our communities and make things safe for everyone. With passion like this, I believe we will spend each day learning new things to continue enhancing our skills and finding better ways to accomplish our goal of bettering the locations we will be working. To my fellow cadets, I would like to say congratulations on completing the academy, and don't forget, if you ever need help, there are 14 other people here willing to help you at any time. To our instructors, I would like to offer a final thank you for all the experience related to us and being patient with all of our questions throughout the time in the academy. To the director and our coordinator, thank you for your dedication to ensure we are receiving the best instruction possible and continuing to run this program for future deputies and officers to attend. To our departments, thank you for investing in all of us here. We will do our best to be the best police officers possible within your departments. At this time, I would like to invite Deputy Easterday up here to help me with presenting a flag, and I'll end my speech with a skadoosh. You're welcome, O'Brien.
All right. Now it's time for our awards presentation. Our first award for firearms, and that's Chief Kenneth Walters. Try again.
Good afternoon. Actually, yeah, well, we're pretty close. Class 58, congratulations. Lieutenant Dennison couldn't be here today, so you get stuck with the old chief for awards here. Family and friends, just really brief concerning their firearms, training, and a little bit of what they go through. So I'm sure that they've all expounded, because I'm sure that they were all excited, roughly that 2 weeks of live fire range. But essentially, it's day one of the academy in regards to their firearms training. And initially, they don't even know that, because it's involved in all of their decision training. It's involved in their scenario-based training. It's involved in their defensive tactics training, which I'm sure Sheriff Stern will touch on later. And then lastly, their actual live fire training. So there's quite a bit that goes into that, and we definitely don't make it easy, and I'm very proud that they've all made it through. We don't make it easy for a reason. That is probably the scariest and most important decision that they could probably ever make in this line of work, the decision that they would have to use that firearm on their belt. Definitely most important tool on that bat belt you're all going to have on here pretty soon, but the tool that you will use the least, very least out of all of them, but definitely the most important. So once again, congratulations, and we've got a few awards to hand out here. So, firearms, most improved, Derek Camphouse. Firearms Award for Class 58. This is based on not only are they the best shooter, but there's a lot of factors that goes into this. Top shooter's part of it, their decision-making process, they're willing to help others, and how they retain that. For our Class 58 Firearms Award winner is Christopher English.
Thank you. Our next awards are physical training and defensive tactics. Those will be given by Sheriff Edward Stern.
Good morning. It's the last time you guys have to listen to me. Be excited about that. So I'm sure a lot of your loved ones have come home and told you about how nice and friendly we are during physical fitness and how the first day was caring and compassion and warm. You made it. You made it through day one. You made it through 17 weeks. I congratulate you. On behalf of the physical fitness and defensive tactics staff, you've completed a task that many dream about when they're young, but very few achieve. So be proud of yourself. During the course of the academy, we make physical fitness a staple because that's what's going to carry them through a successful career. As you heard Deputy John speak earlier, stay physically fit. Not only do they owe that to the community that they serve, but they owe it to their loved ones and themselves to survive this career and enjoy their retirement. We test the cadets throughout the academy on their raw scores based on the MCOL standards for graduation purposes. But we also test their mental strength, their strength in helping others and leading the class, and all those different aspects lead into the awards that we give out. Unfortunately, we can't give out 15 awards. They all deserve something, but we are only allowed to give 2. So the most improved award for Class 58 goes to a cadet that increased their sit-ups from day 1 till testing day by 13, their push-ups by 19, and knocked 16 and a half seconds off of their run. That award goes to Christopher English. The second award for physical fitness is for top in the class. This cadet, by far, during every fitness challenge that we do weekly, blew everybody else out of the water. His final test scores, 58 sit-ups, 110 push-ups, which may be an academy record, we have to check that, 24 and a half inches on his jump, and he knocked 10 and a half seconds off of his run from day 1. I don't know how he does it, but he was leaps and bounds ahead of everybody physically. This award goes to Samuel Stalter. Okay, the next two awards are for defensive tactics. It is a grueling program. I'm sure they came home with some bumps and bruises and aches and pains, but it's obviously very important. The award for defensive tactics for most improved goes to Matthew Niss. Final award for top in defensive tactics. Not only did this cadet, was he able to demonstrate the techniques properly, he was also able to help a lot of other cadets that were struggling in certain areas. I noticed daily he would go around and help other people if they were having issues. And this award goes to Lonnie Day. I told you this is the last time you have to listen to me, but I can't leave without giving you a really short speech. If you remember day one, some of you guys were asked, are you the one? Well, now you are. You're the one that's sworn to protect and serve your community. You're the one that has to have all the answers. You're the one that has to make split-second decisions. You're the one that someone will rely on during their darkest day. You're the one who's a friend, who's a father, a husband, a boyfriend, and a son. You'll be the one that lends a shoulder for somebody to cry on. You are a superhero. With all those responsibilities and many more that come with this career, you're also the one that may need someone else for support for you. Staying physically strong is really important, as we've talked about, but mental strength is just as important. Never be afraid to find your own superhero that will support you. Again, I congratulate you, and I wish you the best.
Throughout the academy, the cadets take numerous exams for each module of training, all the way up to even a spelling test that I know they loved. We put all those test scores together, and we come up with an individual who, throughout the academy, had the highest test scores. And that Academic Achievement Award goes to Deputy Lonnie Day. And our last award is the M. Coles Outstanding Performance Award, given by Representative Michael Logie.
Thank you. MCOLS is the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. It's the licensing and regulatory agency for law enforcement in the state of Michigan, and as such, we regulate the police academies. First, I'd like to comment on all the children in the This is I've never seen so many well-behaved little ones in an academy graduation. So, parents, excellent. Also, want to thank the director and coordinator for such a great academy. The evaluations were just outstanding. Can't say enough about the work that they put in. Also to the instructors, especially. You're coming back. I wish there were more instructors here to hear the words from the recruits that said that they did not feel like the instructors were just another academy, that the time and effort they put in, they could really tell the passion that the instructors had. So that's our biggest concern at MCOLS, is having those instructors come back, because they're not on the road to financial freedom by instructing in the police academy. And we're very, very, very thankful that they continue to come back, and not just come back, but have that passion, because without that passion to teach these young people, it's just not a good product going out in the community. And Kirtland does an excellent job, and we're very proud of them. As such, the Outstanding Performance Award is given to the recruit that not just maybe is just not academically the best, but possesses the traits that and the leadership skills that we like to see in today's police officer. And the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards Outstanding Performance Award is awarded to blank for your exemplary demonstration of the knowledge, skills, and abilities required of an effective police officer during the basic training program. And we're proud to present this to Samuel Stalter.
Thank you, Mike. And now it's time for our badge pinning. We're going to go by rows, so if you have, you're going to be the pinning a deputy or an officer in row 1. Could you please come up and just stand center stage for me? Squad 1, 10, put. Right, face. Fall out to be pinned. Fall out. Go ahead, folks. You can go on up to your loved ones. Yep, go ahead. Thank you. Squad 1. Left face. Fall out to your seats. Fall out. If you're pinning someone in row 2, you can come on up. Squad 2. Put. Left face. Fall out to be pinned. Fall out. You can come up. Squad 2. Left face. Fall out to your seats. Fall out. Thank you. And now the presentation of our academic certificates. Officer Travis Carlson. Zachary Homiak. Officer Joshua Clark. Deputy Andrew Cole. Deputy Lonnie Day. Deputy Todd Easterday. Deputy Christopher English. Officer Derek Camphouse. Officer Nathan Kyle. Deputy Matthew Niss. Deputy Logan O'Brien. Officer Charles Ramirez. Deputy Jacob Seiler. Deputy Samuel Stalter. Deputy Jacob Vischer. The Law Enforcement Code of Ethics stands as a foundation to the mission and commitment law enforcement agencies make to the public that they serve. From day one, the cadets are told that they have to memorize the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics because on this day, as a class, they will recite the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics for you. As you listen, you will hear that it is quite long and there's a lot to it. So they deserve a round of applause when they're done because that's very difficult for 17 weeks to try to memorize it and do as well as they're going to do. Class, attend, hoot! Prepare to recite the Code of Ethics. Recite!
As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, safeguard lives and property, protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all, liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, and will behave in a manner that does not bring discredit to me or to my agency. I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, be constantly mindful of the welfare of others, honest in thought and deed, both in personal and official life, while be exemplary in obeying the laws and regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature, as what is confided to me in my official capacity, will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or commit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise of crime or relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of police service. I will never engage in acts of corruption or bribery, nor will I condone such acts by other police officers. I will cooperate with all legally authorized agencies and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. I know that I alone am responsible for my own standard of professional performance, and will take every reasonable opportunity to enhance and improve my level of knowledge and competence. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement.
Outstanding. Class 58, welcome to the law enforcement family. You are dismissed.